all people have some sort of relationship to nudity. And so this invitation to be naked in a space with other people, probably a lot of people you don't know, really gives people this invitation to meet an edge of themselves, have a new experience, and then really touch something within themselves. So it just shows also the so deeply ingrained what people think the naked body means, to also break those deeply ingrained beliefs in people that we can be naked together without needing to have sex.
Welcome everyone, Christ Burstein here. Some people know me as Los Cabra. Welcome to a new episode of Backstage Breakdown. Here from Lounge Lab Studios in the heart of Berlin. I have a really extremely interesting interviewee in front of me. How can I describe her or what she's doing? I think I'm not. Danielle from the Naked Tea Party. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
I cannot describe you. Or how do you describe yourself? How do you describe what you're doing?
How do I describe what I'm doing? And who am I? I would say I am a woman. I'm a person who is passionate about life and community and really real experiences. And I'm deeply passionate about bringing people together for meaningful experiences that help them to feel themselves, feel their bodies inside out, and really bring some beautiful meaning into the world and into any moment.
And what is meaningful for you?
What's meaningful for me? What feels really real, I would say, is meaningful for me. So moments that really touch you, that bring a sense of emotion, that bring a sense of excitement. These things feel quite meaningful for me.
You're doing the Naked Tea Party. How did that came?
Exactly.
What? How? How?
What the heck? The Naked Tea Party. The Naked Tea Party is an idea that I received during a meditation as like the complete package. Naked Tea Party, the Naked Tea Party. The party's been happening for 6 years. And I can say, but it didn't come out of nowhere. Since I was 20 years old, I started hosting events, realizing I love to invite people to be together. Of course, starting at my home, starting in the parks, just gathering people for community circles or whatever it is that we would be doing. And it just evolved. My passion for nudity grew in my college days. And I started teaching naked yoga, hosting naked dinners. And then in this space of hosting these different kinds of events, the Naked Tea Party was an idea that just came to my mind.
And what do you think it clicked with the people?
Gosh, I can say that from our very first Naked Tea Party in 2019, first of all, it's an interesting thing to think, okay, you have an idea for something. I have the idea, the Naked Tea Party. I have an idea of what this looks like in my mind, but how to actually do that, like how to actually bring it into reality. So our first Naked Tea Party in 2019 was a bit chaotic. It was kind of just me at a festival having this idea, but not realizing I need a team. It takes people to make tea, to serve tea, to hold the space and all of this. I was kind of just pulling people along to help quite spontaneously. And gosh, I forgot the question.
What do you think that it clicked with people?
What did it click? It is it's an exciting opportunity for people. It is one of the most normal things that they could possibly experience. And on the other side of the coin, it's something that many people experience for the first time, to be naked in public. I mean, I think that all people can all people have some sort of relationship to nudity. Do I feel comfortable being naked? Do I not feel so comfortable being naked? Yes, maybe at home by myself, but maybe not in public. And so this invitation to be naked in a space with other people, probably a lot of people you don't know, really gives people this invitation to meet an edge of themselves, have a new experience, and then really touch something within themselves. I'm seeing people love this. It's exciting for them.
That goes exactly where I want to go with this podcast is about group dynamics. And these are group dynamics naked. So how people interact when they're naked? Is it the same as to have clothes? Is it different? What happens?
It's a good question. How do people act when they're naked? I think the most people are on like very good behavior. No, and in the space of the naked tea party, I can say at least people come and they're like really wanting to be careful at first and maybe feeling a little bit shy. They're maybe a bit nervous that they might overstep a boundary or something like this. So I would say especially people who are there for the first time might feel like a bit careful in the space. But I would say after about 10 minutes, most people really relax, and often the feedback I get, myself included, forget that they're naked. And after that moment, there comes a really deep sense of intimacy. So I experience it myself, and I get feedback from a lot of the people in the space that they feel really connected to a lot of people in the space, even if they're not necessarily talking to every single person at the party. They feel this sense of connection of knowing the other people there, even if they don't know their name or they haven't even exchanged words with them. There's a sense of intimacy that comes along. So there's a sense of closeness and safety also that comes in this space of being naked.
And how is it for someone that, let's say that there are different cultures here in Germany. Nudity is something that has been happening for a long time, but there are other cultures that they don't feel that. So let me transpose that to traditions or the people, not the countries. Probably you have a lot of people from different ethnicities where nudity is not so available or it's not so easy to reach. How do they behave or how do they feel at the beginning?
I mean, I can say even for myself, coming from the United States, although I'm from California, like on the beach, people like to dress really sexy, very risque, but nudity is actually illegal in most public places. You'll get a ticket, you'll get arrested, whatever. And I've met people who grew up in religious families and they come to the naked tea party, and people where the nudity is quite foreign and it brings a great sense of liberation. And obviously the people who are coming to our event are curious to try something new. They're curious to be there. They want to be there. No one's forcing them to be in the space. So obviously the people who come to the naked tea party then are the ones who wanted to try it. They felt that sense of curiosity and interest to explore nudity, whereas maybe the culture that they come from wasn't normalizing that from their roots.
When you're talking about these group dynamics, they get to the place, they see that everybody's naked and they feel part of something, but maybe there's many people that they don't understand the limits between just being naked or to have a sexy party. Sexy on the way of more physical. Did you have situations like this that people have to put a limit? And how did you manage these situations?
From what I've seen also now, 6 years of regular naked tea parties has given me a lot of feedback of how is society, how is culture, and how is their perception of nudity, and what does it mean? And at the Naked Tea Party, we have the guideline that this is not a sex party. So explicit sexual interactions are not welcome in our space. And I mean, just talking to someone about the Naked Tea Party on the street, very often one of their first questions will be, is it a sex party? And
like there's no limit between Kit Kat and the Naked Tea Party on their perception.
Oh, people will say, no, I've never been to the Naked Tea Party, but I've been to Kit Kat Club.
Yeah, of course.
It must
like
be the
dark
same
roots
thing.
Kind of thing.
It must be the same thing. And it's not. So it just shows also the so deeply ingrained what people think the naked body means to be sexual.
That nudity is sexual.
Absolutely.
It's not fun, it's not excitement, it's just sexual.
It's not innocent.
Yeah.
No. And this is a part of also the intention of the guidelines of our space, that it's not a sex positive space, to also break those deeply ingrained beliefs in people that we can be naked together without needing to have sex. And I would say now that the Naked Tea Party is here in Berlin is where we're doing most of the events. A lot of people in Berlin and in the party scene know about the Naked Tea Party and know about the rules of our space. So I would say actually at the Naked Tea Party itself, it's not like we're fighting the room to keep it non-sexual. People know the etiquette of our space. So now it's quite, it's very normal that we're there, and it's not a sexual space at the Naked Tea Party itself. I would say it's the conversations that you have, or the conversations outside of the Naked Tea Party, where you really see this connotation a bit stronger.
The time that I've been to a Naked Tea Party was part of carpets, and I think that everybody that goes to a festival, they know what this is about. But what about the people that they go for the first time? Do they have any kind of guideline outside about what they're allowed to do, what they're not? And do you have a filter?
Yes, absolutely. So,
and what is that base? That is one of the biggest questions here in Berlin, because this is a different kind of party.
Yeah, exactly. So we have at our festival parties or our club parties, we have a door team. So at any time of the entire party, there will also always be people on our door from the Naked Tea Party team who say hello to anyone who wants to enter the space and make sure they understand the guidelines of the space. It's not a sex party, no smoking on the dance floor, etc., no cameras on the dance floor, and that there's always someone from our team who's happy to support you if you ever feel uncomfortable. And you can find people at our team at the tea station. So these are the guidelines that we share with people when they want to enter the space, and maybe they've never heard of the Naked Tea Party before at all, which is an exciting group of people to get when they stumble across this party, and then just to watch the reactions of people when we tell them what we're doing, and if they want to enter, they have to agree to this. So in this case, and then we make sure, do you agree? Do you want to enter? Do you agree to our guidelines? If they say yes, then we welcome them in. And actually for our private parties, this is where people buy a ticket before the event to come to the Naked Tea Party. For these events, people need to complete a survey before they can even get a ticket link. And this has the questions like, do you agree to have it being explicitly no sexual space? What is your understanding of consent? And how might you express consent or experience consent at our event? Questions like that.
So that filter is coming from, you know what we're doing here, and you're willing to be part of this, and not so much on as here in Berlin normal clubs when people say yes and no.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. The way that we filter is very much by having conversations with people, because we want diversity in our space. We want people of all ages, of all colors, of all sizes. So just by looking at people, that's not going to tell us if they belong here or not. It's by actually having a conversation with them. Are they coherent enough are they sober enough to understand what we're saying, to agree to what we're saying? So we're always having a dialogue with people before they enter, whether online or in person. And I think that this also already sets the tone of the space. Like, we're here. We have a team of people. We have a team of people with their eyes on the space during the whole evening. And I think that this assures people who enter, okay, I feel already safer coming into these doors and into this container. Honoring that what we're doing is really a vulnerable experience for people. And even though we have a team of about 15 people at any given event holding the space, it also takes awareness of every single participant, every single guest, every single artist who is with us to also understand those guidelines and to hold the space together.
Now you just took me easy to a place that I want to go. You said you have a team of 15 people.
Yeah.
I can assume that these people, they also get together on the belief, the idea, on the concept, and on the passion they have for something like this, that is not as strategic as, for example, in other interviews that I had here, that they go more focused on the technical side. But here it's about people, it's about human connection. How do you manage a team of 15 people doing these kind of things?
Yeah. So it's developed over the years that we've, first of all, gained enough interest and grown the community enough that we have enough people in the community who want to support the space with us. We have actually a group of about 80 people of Naked Tea fairies, who we call them the fairies, the ones who help support the space. And anytime there's a new event coming up, we put out the call saying, hey, on this date, there's another party. If you'd like to join and support on the team, let us know.
So the fairies work as volunteers or as part of the team?
Exactly. These people are volunteers. And in that sense, and I think that this is a really big aspect of the passion, which you mentioned, that we are bringing into the people who are holding the space for the Naked Tea Party. They love the Naked Tea Party so much. They resonate and are aligned with the values of the Naked Tea Party, and they feel confident and really proud to hold the space for guests to have an experience for the first time, or for guests to get to have the experience of the night.
There's a couple of things that I normally see in different groups. It's about these blockages that might happen, and one of them is about the egos. How is the ego management inside a team?
Interesting question. Gosh, I feel like it's a little bit hard to answer. What I would say is, for our team, there are, people who join the team agree to do the specific tasks that they're asked for, right? Is it holding the door? Is it serving the tea? Is it preparing the tea? No, these basic things. And I think if people show up on time, they're respectful to the group dynamics and to doing the things that they've agreed to do, and they can be themselves. And I would say the people who are on the Naked Tea Party team are characters. They're individual characters. And I love the people who are on the team. We have the people who are wild, loud, funny, really characters you see at the Naked Tea Party. And then we also have the people who are a bit more shy and reserved, but still so passionate about being there. So we have this spectrum of characters. And with that, I would say, regardless who these people are in their own character, as long as they are showing up, doing what they've agreed to do, showing up on time, and really holding that respect for the team, holding their own weight for the team, then they can have their ego, they can have their, they can have their personality.
Because that there's for example, in acting or in stand-up or improvisation, there's always yes and not yes but. That just to keep on the conversation rolling, you have to add something, yes and, but at the moment you said yes but, you stop that.
Absolutely.
And then is maybe when the ego comes. And do you have situations like that between teams when somebody says not, they make like a clear stop, but not because the other person misbehaved, but it's just because it's too wild and too blah.
Mm-hmm.
And How do you manage this kind of role situation?
I would say generally it's quite peaceful and respectful on our team in the sense of really working together to get any job done. And I would say when there are bigger conflicts happening in the space, which obviously just happen when people are together and working, basically after every single event, there's the space for reflection. People can always share their thoughts, critiques, what they need to change, something that came up that they want to speak about. And if there is a clear conflict on the table, then myself or the manager of the party that night will be the ones to really facilitate a dialogue that we move through any conflict that there may have been so that we can continue working together in peace and in a clear energy, I would say, instead of we have our conflicts and then we just keep going and ignore that has happened. I would say actually our team is quite transparent in the sense of sharing what kind of things are happening, also sharing if there are group dynamics happening and how we as a group move through these things together. And if situations like this are coming up again in the future, then this is actually the protocol we take. And we're learning, right? Sometimes new things come up and then you realize, okay, that was a first. And this is how we handled it. Does everyone agree of that way we handled it? Does anyone have an idea of how we could have done that better or would have done that differently? So we also really open the space for anyone on the team to speak up with their voice and their opinions and their own knowledge and understanding of how to best move through situations. So it's really collective effort in that sense of,
And where do you see those conflict points? What happened, or where do you see that there's something a bit more recurrent?
I mean, I would say, I would say it's not so much conflict between individuals as actually a wider conflict is a part of having volunteers. There's sometimes a lot of rotation in having new people on the team, right? If it's a volunteer position, then people sometimes have less commitment to be there longer term, to be there more regularly. So I would say that this is more of a conflict in the sense of sometimes we have a lot of new people. And then that brings a whole new dynamic as well when, okay, now there's new people on the team and people starting from scratch and also playing with these dynamics of here's team members who've been here for 5 years and here's someone on the team for the very first time. So how do we move through that? I would say also just by, in the space itself, we have sharing before every event. We have a space to say hello and say our names and how we're doing, and if we need any special support or can offer any extra support for the evening, depending on our energy levels, and we just really have this team feeling. I would say we're here to support each other and make it clear that some of us have really high energy tonight and I can do extra things when it's needed. You can call on me. People will say that in our group sharing before the event begins, for example. But I would say as outside of the parties, a way that we build the team resilience is by, we have about once a month like community meeting from the team, so doing something fun or having a dinner together or meeting in the park to really just build and bond connections. And then quarterly we have a meeting where we just share, hey, what's going on with the Naked Tea Party? What's coming up in the future? What's been happening? Are there any changes? Does anyone have any questions or insights or ideas for the development of this project? So in that sense, we try to also really include people to feel involved, like they have a voice in the space and that they're a really valued part of the space.
And when you have this mix between people that are being with you for the past 5 years and you have all these newcomers, is there any friction between them because one knows way more than the other of what's happening? And I don't know, this is my fantasy, that when this situation appears, the one that has been here for 5 years is like, listen to me. And that might bring some uncovered tension.
Mm-hmm. Generally, when we have new people on the team, we always pair them up with, so there's always 2 people working any shift at the same time. So whenever there's someone new, I will always pair them with someone familiar with the space. And I would say also, Chris, it's not, yes, it gets intense working the naked tea party, especially if it's a party in the middle of the night and, then people are maybe tired, or it's just a more intense space.
Or they're just in a special state of mind.
Sure. But it's not such a high intensity space. And actually for me, like in the sense of, we have deadlines, we need to push, there's money, there's this pressure, like maybe a typical
corporate
startup
thing, yeah.
Absolutely. And in that sense, and this is what I say to everyone, take care of yourself and have fun. Have fun. Please be having fun when you're here. If you're not, then we need to change something, because I hope this is what you're here for, And it's not having fun in the sense of them partying wild and being on the dance floor and forget about all of the things that I agreed that I would help with. But having fun because I'm enjoying serving the tea. I'm enjoying talking to the guests at the door, in that sense. And so I would say, and that being said, people who join the team for the first time, I think also the Naked Tea Party is growing as a reputable space that people love. And it's so interesting. The last few weeks I've met a few different people, and they said, I've never been to the Naked Tea Party, but I love it so much. Mm-hmm. And I heard multiple people say this in the last weeks, and it was so touching to hear that people have such a strong feeling about this space and about this event, even when they've never been. And I think that just, then you can get a feeling of then the people who we invite to come and work with us and be on the team, they feel this sense of honor and excitement, and they really, really want to do their best. And so they do show up and they ask questions, and they really are sharp when they're in the space. And I think with that kind of attitude, it's hard to be like frustrated. I would say the people I personally get the most frustrated with are the oldies who've been here so long, who start to slack off, versus the new people who are fresh and excited and so much want to be there.
And how is it for you? Because even if we want or not, there's a level of hierarchy.
Yeah.
But in these kind of events, when we're all naked, that means that we're all equals, but some that are more equals than others. And you have to give directions, and sometimes maybe you have to say something that is not the nicest thing to hear. How do you deal with these roles, this hierarchy that you're on? Because you're the head.
You mean within the team?
Within the team, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I can say at the parties themselves, there's me, but actually since a little over a year already, I'm a bit more out in the sense of at the parties themselves, they can run without me being there. We have a manager who is then kind of taking that position of just making sure everything's running all right. And the managers are people who know the party inside and out, and also have this, a good, kind, patient leadership, right? Where they can talk to people clearly, and they can also say if things aren't being done properly, how to do them properly. And I would say this is like trial and error and learning, and it's something that I've, I dove into I began the Naked Tea Party without any specific training or business or, specific leadership trainings on how to do this. And so I've really learned over the years what feels best for me in the ways that I communicate with people. I apologize when I feel like I've made a mistake or I've been too tough. And have also really learned to be gentler on myself, because of course when there's a project or something that you care so much about, you want it to be done the way you want it to be done. things, everything. You want it to all be done the way you want. Yeah, that can get intense, right? In the communication. And I think over the years, it's been a trial and error. I've had the moments where I felt like, wow, I'm embarrassed for the way that I've acted. I'm embarrassed for the way that I've shown up with these people who only want to do well.
Yeah.
And by apologizing and acknowledging that I feel like I could have done that much better and perhaps much softer, giving direction in another way. I think that it shows this sense of vulnerability, and people really appreciate it. And with that, and having it happen more than one time, it happens. I think with time, I've really also evolved and changed. And
about this founder's bottleneck that you just mentioned, how do you deal with the micromanagement or how to delegate to the second lines? Was it because nobody teaches how to develop a project or how to escalate? And which is, as you said, trial and error. How was your journey into that direction to realize that, okay, I can delegate and things are going to be okay?
Yeah. I would say it came out of necessity, feeling like so much of my personal identity was enmeshed with the Naked Tea Party. I would say it was about a year or two ago where I realized, okay, I need to make a shift to take a bit more space from this event so that I can be Danielle again and not only be Danielle from the Naked Tea Party. And so it was that process of having a manager in the space, inviting managers, and also asking the team, like, who of you wants a higher position? What would you like to do? What can you imagine doing and bringing into this space? And then from there, seeing if we have actually tasks and roles and, positions which can be offered to people. And I would say there's been now a handful of Naked Tea Parties where I'm not present. And this is really good. This is really good for me realizing all of those parties where I was not present, I got incredible feedback that it was such a wonderful night. So that is so awesome to see that, okay, it's possible without me. And there's also been multiple moments where people do things differently than I would have done them, or differently than I've always been doing them, and actually it's better. No?
But okay, good point. But then your ego comes here and says like, yeah, I'm not doing this the same way. How do you deal with that? Because instinctively we think that this is the way. And then somebody shows us that there's a different way, maybe a better, worse, but it's different. And we feel, I don't want to say attacked, but sensitive.
It's hard. It's hard. Gosh, how do I deal with that? It's tricky. It's really tricky.
I'm really good at tricky questions.
Gosh, I mean, it's definitely hard for me to when things aren't going the way that I'm used to and the way that I think that they're done best. I usually tell people how I think it should be done so that they know clearly, like, this is the way that I would do it. And sometimes they give me the feedback, okay, I didn't know, I can do that. And sometimes they give me the feedback, I did know, and actually I'm doing this or I'm doing something else, like I'm about to do that thing, or they kind of tell me already. Basically what they tell me is, it's okay, Danielle, I have it under control. And then I'm like, okay. And then I realize, okay, I need to just step back. I need to trust and really let go. And this is the sense of the ways of me just stepping further and further back from the space itself sometimes is just the best thing that I can do to see that yeah, the people who are on the team are people who I have now gotten to learn each person personally, and I trust them to be there. I appreciate that they're there. I trust them to do a good job. And if I can just remember that each person who's there is that. There are people who I feel safe with and who I feel, represent the Naked Tea Party in a beautiful way, then I think from that point I need to just learn to let go.
But it's not easy, huh?
It's not easy. It's really not easy. It's not easy for me. How is it easy when it's this project and this thing?
It's your baby.
It's something that I just love so much, and I've poured my heart and soul into this event and into this space. So it's not easy. And it's an ongoing process.
Talking of not easy, I had the theory that at the moment that your passion and your source of income are going into the same direction, one is going to suffer or the other, or both. So how is it in your case that it started with passion? The passion is still there, but now it's also a business. How do you cope with the decisions that you make just to keep both sides afloat?
Yeah, that's also a good question. And I can also add, it's your passion, it's your business, and now it's also a big part of my identity. So is the business doing well? Okay, then my identity feels like good enough. And if the business isn't doing so well, then am I actually the failure here? Or no, like
that is when the ego is coming back.
My own self-worth,
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
These are things which I have experienced over the years. And can you please say the question to me again? How to manage when it's your business and your
passion and business.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm happy that the Naked Tea Party is not the only form of income, what I have personally. And I'm incredibly grateful. I can hardly even believe that that there's money coming in from something which I believe in so deeply with all of my heart, and see that people also really appreciate it. And so, wow, there's so much tied to it, your passion and the business side of things. I would say in that sense, I'm also not, like, just from who I am as a person and the way that I work, or at least where I'm at so far in my life, I'm not interested in make it the biggest, keep growing, take over the world. I mean, I very much believe that the Naked Tea Party will eventually move across the planet. I mean, I think that it will be a global phenomenon, and I'm not pushing to make it happen right now. I would say I'm really letting the Naked Tea Party develop really organically and with the right people when they come and when the ideas are there and when the right collaborations are there, that I'm open for it to keep blossoming and growing in the ways that feel really right for me. And I also believe that, who knows how my passions and my life is going to continue to develop. I've given 6 years of my life to the Naked Tea Party, like really 100%. And I think I'm very currently in my life in a moment of I'm in a moment of just taking it step by step and okay, there's a really good rhythm right now for the Naked Tea Party. And in that quite simple rhythm of the Naked Tea Party, we know how things go, we know how it's going, we know what our year plan is and what are the typical rhythm of the event. With that, I feel like I can take a bit of a pause and re-spark my true, authentic, in this moment passions. And I think that from that space is where I can see how it will continue to develop as well, whether how the Naked Tea Party will develop or whether other ideas will take space and also develop. So, yeah.
Okay. Let me take you now to a different field.
Yeah.
Because the Naked Tea Party started 6 years ago.
Yeah.
6 years ago, it was a different time on the world. It was a different mentality. There were certain things that were more accepted, some things less. And some time ago, we spoke that, I remember that you heard me playing at Sisyphos. And then I said, well, I would like to play at the party. And I said, well, we're more oriented on Flint. What is totally perfect. It's totally great. But at 6 years ago, Flinta community, it was not as, or LGBTQ, was not as strong as it is now. And now every day is getting on different levels, on not only on perception, or also on acceptance. And for you to make that decision to get this artist to play at the party, what is your idea? Why to give Flinta more space on the DJ side, not only on the guests for sure?
If we look at the statistics of who's on stage, whether it's DJs or musicians or actors, I mean, people who are in front of the camera and up on stage and have a microphone, the statistics, I think it's not been so recent, but at least like a year ago, seeing statistics on International Women's Day of what are the statistics of actually having Flinta people on stage, specifically with the club culture in Berlin or around Europe. Maybe 8%, 10% of Flinta people versus then 90% of men being on stage. And because the Naked Tea Party also, I can say, the Naked Tea Party is a space that we actually very actively need to make gender balance. If we didn't, it would be all men. Whether on the doors of our parties or with our surveys, we really have to actively pause male-bodied people to give space for Flinta people to like take their time and arrive, so that it's not a party full of men, which I personally don't want to be at a Naked Tea Party with all men. And I think that it shows a lot also about how much more safe and secure men feel in the world, and even just are in the world a lot of the times, versus Flinta people and women. And in this sense, I want to, and then at the Naked Tea Party, we're inviting these women and these Flinta people to perform naked, of all things, which is for anyone performing, regardless of how they identify, an exciting and a very vulnerable way to be performing. But to be, and then inviting the people who are also more vulnerable in society to be on that stage feels very, very important to me and valuable for me. I mean, I'm a woman, I'm a Flinta person. It's work that I've been passionate about, I would say, since I'm like old enough to be conscious of it, right? Since my teenage years. And yeah, it's something that I still feel really strongly about. We do have men on a stage, and quite regularly we have men on our stage. And I would say in that sense, who we invite to perform with us is also not only based on identity, but also really the art. There's also a very specific sound which we want in the space, or a very specific, is it someone offering a workshop or a performance, something that really feels like meaningful and resonating with the space and with the body positive movement, or with the just like empowerment movement, which I think that we're really standing for.
When I said that you started this 6 years ago, as it was a different time, your perception or your idea of inclusion changed from the beginning that you started the party until now, or it was always like that?
I would say it changed because I have seen, I think I saw it also in because I said I was teaching naked yoga, and I also saw the patterns there. I started by teaching just naked yoga for women, but then I would open it up to naked yoga for everyone. And when it's naked yoga for everyone, it would be all men who wanted to come to the space.
Okay.
So I also had to really balance it out there.
Interesting.
And I would say when I first started the Naked Tea Party, I didn't think necessarily let's have a gender balance or we need to work to have a gender balance. But over the years, when I've seen the patterns of if we are not actively doing this balancing act with our guests, then it'll be all men. This has changed my perception. And it's changed my perception also in the world, even when I'm outside of the Naked Tea Party. And I'll say also when I'm at the Naked Tea Party, you know, it's such a vulnerable space. I'll say I would say everyone who comes to the Naked Tea Party is so kind and so sweet. The people who come to this space are really so sweet-hearted. And still, I think there's a level of awareness which so many of us still need to grow into. For example, I can give you an example. We've been having a hot tub at our parties at Sisyphus this year. There's been a hot tub the whole year, so every party there's also a hot tub. Awesome. It's I don't know, and maybe I'm me. I'm me, and I come with my full package. But I start to notice, okay, when the hot tub is just filled with men, do I really want to go in there
Sure.
and be the only woman in there? And the fact that these guys have now all come and filled up the entire hot tub, perhaps from my perception, no one's thinking about, there's already lots of guys. Maybe this isn't really inviting for
Exactly.
someone who's not a dude
Sure.
to come in. Because when I see that, I think no one's
it's not
thinking
inviting.
about me.
Yeah.
No one's thinking about me.
Yeah.
Or other Flinta people in this space. So, seeing these and I'm telling you, these are Naked Tea Party people.
True.
They're really sweet, gentle, wanting to do good people.
But I can understand that
There's
8 guys there.
Yeah,
and
I don't want
you're just coming.
there.
Of course.
I don't want to go join the soup.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, and it's these kinds of things which then also have shaped my perception of men in public spaces, on the trains, on the streets. And yeah.
And do you see in this, because times change and things that they were canceled that they were allowed years ago, now they're not so okay. Do you see that also in society, that there's some changes happening?
Well, change is always happening, huh?
Yeah.
And yeah.
For example, what do you think about the woke culture?
The woke culture?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know exactly what you mean by that.
No, about the politically correctness.
Yeah. Okay. I think that it is extremely valuable that it's on the table and that people are talking about it using pronouns, for example, and using politically correct language and, realizing phrases that our grandparents or our parents or we grew up thinking were normal are actually totally racist, and it's time to change these things. I think that this is incredibly wonderful and valuable that people are having conversations, and I myself as well, right? We make mistakes when, in this whole transition over the last years of people wanting to be called by the pronouns which they choose. I've made my mistakes and needing to go through that vulnerability of also, whoops, okay, excuse me, sorry, and then correcting ourselves. And also, I think what humility it brings us in that sense of making these changes and becoming more aware of one another. I will say, of course, and maybe you can also feel it, by having all of the politically correctness. Of course, this also sometimes feels like a little bit of a constraint. Can I just speak freely? Can I see it also with the Naked Tea Party, and we also got some negative feedback with, saying female or male, or, women, men, and these kinds of things, and really getting feedback like, not all not all Flinta people are women, you know,
Yeah.
these very common mistakes. And, you know, for me, it was always a learning, the humility of, okay, we make mistakes, we're making mistakes. And actually now we do much better because we made those mistakes. And so now we can be more like with the times, you know.
If you have to tell something to the Danielle that started everything 6 years ago, what would you say, this is the way and this is not the way?
I would say learn to trust as quickly as you can. Really learn that, trusting people, trusting yourself and this feeling. And like, I would say trust, like this is the way, trust, really following that. This is not the way. Needing to be right all of the time. And basically that, like, this is the way, ask for help, admit when you're wrong and you need support. And this is not the way, do it all by yourself and don't trust anybody.
Good. Danielle, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very, very much for having me, Chris. Yeah.
So, another episode is coming to an end here from Lounge Lab Studios in the heart of Berlin. I'm Christ Burstein, and I'm saying goodbye. Most content creators hide the mess. We are not. We're real, we're transparent, and we are free. In order to keep on doing this, please subscribe, follow. It's nothing for you, just one click, and it really helps us.